The legendary British comic actor Kenneth Williams, who was a master of euphemism, innuendo, wordplay, and the dictionary, frankly, particularly when it came to skirting around taboo subjects in a way that was both cheeky and deeply amusing, had used a cockney rhyming slang, apparently. It turns up in his diaries anyway. I want Barclays, as a cockney rhyming slang, for manu stupracity, self-gratification. And this is part of a long tradition of double entendres and playful avoidance of directly vulgar language. And Williams, as much as he was a camp and exuberant performer, was also fastidious about propriety. He detested crudeness when it was explicit, but delighted in sophisticated, layered humour that allowed the audience to understand the implication themselves. His use of Barclays was a perfect example of this, and those in the know would know exactly what he meant, while others might assume he was referring to a financial institution that didn't work properly. Williams was and doesn't work at all now. I mean, it's limp as a lettuce. Barclays might refer to Liz Truss. Kenneth Williams was a regular on Just a Minute, and though BBC broadcasting standards were strict, he'd often drop in suggestive phrases with a raised eyebrow and exaggeration, and the audience and his fellow panellists would dissolve into laughter, knowing exactly what he meant without him ever saying anything outright. If the topic ever veered towards any form of self-indulgence, he might have quipped something like a visit to the Barclays, leave the audience to fill in the rest, should they have been in on that joke. And Williams' diaries, later published posthumously, were filled with this idiosyncratic language. He had a lifelong discomfort of his own sort of private life, and some of his reflections are tinged with self-reproach. When referring to such moments, he might euphemistically refer to a quick trip to the bank or something similarly oblique. And though the Carry-On films were rife with innuendo, Williams' delivery was often the most sophisticated, and his ability to take an innocent phrase and imbue it with hidden meaning was a signature move. In fact, he had picked up this idea from Edith Evans, who said, when I don't know what something means, I just assume it's rude. And Maggie Smith took the same approach. You can think of infamy. No, they've got it all in for me. Is one of the greatest lines ever written, and apparently was stolen from somebody else. But it's a beautiful line, and Joan Sims and Barbara Windsor often recalled Williams' quick wit and love of wordplay, and he'd frequently use rhyming slang in conversation to amuse friends. And if they didn't get it, well, there'd be a knowing smirk. And so that takes me really to Barclays, the institution that's been in the wind, so to speak, flatulent with fortuitous inability yesterday, and that continues today. And I talked about it this morning, and then this afternoon I've had a further experience of Barclays, and I'll talk about it now, because I think a little bit of Kenneth Williams goes a long way to dampening down the fury, doesn't it? You would really have thought that Barclays Bank would have people working through the weekend to sort out their problems, but they don't. I tried to pay with my Barclays card just now, and I can't. The Barclays card has been refused. I have plenty of money in there, and I called the Barclays telephone support, and after quite a rigmarole, I get through to a message which eventually says that the staff are only available Monday to Friday. And you would have thought that an organisation that has had a crisis would be doing everything to sort it out and to uh, deal with their customers. This is an arrogant, shameless organisation. Now, this morning I put out a story about their failure yesterday. Thankfully, I wasn't caught out in that failure completely. I wanted to check a few things, and I wasn't able to do so. I was, of course, able to pay my tax because I'd done so, I think, the day before or something. But it doesn't really matter. The issue is that I wasn't is I was well aware of the fact that there was a problem because I needed to deal with it. I needed to deal with the bank myself, and I wasn't able to, and I'm not able to today, and I'm not able to pay with a debit card. I'm not able to use their services, and they don't have anybody available to speak to me. And I think that's not service. And I don't care about their idea that they work on a 5-day week. If they can't function on a Friday, then they jolly well function on a Saturday or a Sunday until they repair their business. I would strongly recommend that people do what I fully intend to do, which is to find another bank and to take my business elsewhere. I don't think a bank that has such contempt for its customers should be functioning. That's the bottom line. I'd love to know what you think. And I, although I do appreciate your concerns, I don't think I don't think I like being told that I should have done my tax earlier. I did my tax earlier, and I don't leave things to the last minute. But I am fully aware of the constraints that are on people who may, for some reason, have been left to the last minute, and it's not necessarily their fault. They are dependent on other people, and often dependent on organisations like the bank, who, in a desultory fashion, send out details of their clients' transactions very slowly by paper, because you can't get them in the bank. And when you can't visit the bank and get your information, it makes life extremely difficult. And as I was caught yesterday with a problem, I can fully understand the tax issue. And as I was caught again today with a problem, I can fully understand why people would be frustrated with Barclays. As I say, if an organisation like a bank has got a problem, it is astonishingly arrogant of it to play games that it only answers the phone on a weekday. Frankly, the book should be thrown at them, and people should respond by walking away. My concern is I'm not really sure if there's another bank which is trustworthy, which I could expect to be functioning next week. And I find that very worrying. I equally find it very worrying that it's very difficult to transfer a business account from one bank to another. And it often requires interviews and so on. And I don't know whether I've got the time to waste being patronised by yet another self-serving, incompetent organisation. Because this seems to be a disease which is running through British banking, much like deceit is a disease which runs through British politics. And this is something that I think should be dealt with by the top echelons of government, by people like Rachel Reeves, rather than dealt with on a casual basis by one particular bank or another particular bank, because this is a symptom of a much bigger problem. This is about a lack of customer care and a contempt for the customer or the client or whatever you want to call them In the end, I think this is about reliability. At the moment, I don't feel like a customer or a client. I feel like the mark in some sort of in some sort of hustle, and and the bottom line seems to me to be very clear. If you can't rely on the bank, whether you want to rely on the bank to pay tax yesterday or to use a debit card today, then the bank is useless. And it doesn't matter whether they say that they're working on it, they're going to sort it out by Monday. If there's not somebody there who is prepared to apologise and reassure, I have no idea whether they're going to get it sorted out by Monday, but it really doesn't matter. In the meantime, they should have systems in place to ensure that things work. And they should have people working through the weekend, through the night, to ensure that their business is functioning. And that means possibly paying people overtime and time and a half or whatever, paying people top whack in order to ensure that their business works. And if they can't do that, they should close. It's very simple. And the other day it was NatWest. Now it's Barclays. And I was speaking to somebody a short while ago, and their immediate response was, oh, this is AI. And it doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter what the excuse is. It doesn't matter what the reason might be for the incompetence. What matters is that the banks, the various banks in the UK, cannot deliver the service and the reassurance that is expected of a high street bank. And the app doesn't do it either. So if that means that in Britain we're reduced to just one bank that is reliable, be that as it may, at least that one bank will have all the trust of the government. But at the moment, we have a range of useless organisations, and as an ordinary boffin in the street, I have no idea which bank to trust, just as I have no idea which GP to trust, which hospital to trust, which school I would recommend. And the language which covers this inadequacy, the language which I am fobbed off with, is the language of choice. This isn't choice, unless it's Hobson's choice. This isn't choice. This is bullying. And this is bullying from a series of incompetent organisations that are incapable of delivering the service that, that we've been told competition delivers. So we could come back to the crunch and say, yes, capitalism doesn't work. Let's all become rabid communists. We also know that communism doesn't work. But what does work is honesty. And that is the thing that is missing from all of these organisations. Honesty and a commitment to deliver the goods, serve the public, and do what they say. Honesty. It comes down to that. And if we don't have honest business in Britain, then we don't deserve to do business in this country or with others. Now, if that, you can turn around and you can say, oh, it's Brexit, oh, it's COVID, oh, it's AI. It doesn't matter where you apportion blame. What you have to do is fix the problem. And if we can't fix the problem through competition, then we find a different method. And we get rid of the dross. But I'm tired. I'm really tired of playing these stupid games of finger pointing and saying this doesn't work, that doesn't work. And the assumption that I'm on one team or the other. I'm not. I've given up team playing because it doesn't work. I'm now asking if there's any single organisation in Britain that can be trusted. If there's any single person in Britain that can be trusted. Because I don't think there is. And I'd love to hear from you. And I'd love to know whether or not you found something I haven't found. Yeah, I'd love to hear your advice and who you think should be fixing this.